Broadcasting live inside the American Space Museum in downtown Titusville, Florida. I'm literally sitting just 10 miles from the complexes of our great American launch complexes for our space age program here. In fact, we're right here, right over in there is where Merritt Island is and all the action, and that must be the lights of Titusville there. Thank you all for joining us today. Today's August 6th, 2025. We've been doing this program since March 2020, over 1,300 episodes. Myself and Marty Winkle. Marty's taking the day off today, and behind our Streamlabs production is Matthew Raj today. Matthew, thank you for coming in today. After my little hiatus, we've had few little nits that we've worked out, so we hope the volume's good for everybody. I'm going to hit my smart tablet so I can say hello to you good folks, as we're going to talk about who's in space right now, how many human beings are orbiting the Earth, and how long are they going to stay up there. So you'll see this is a very timely show today. And then we have a very special birthday we're going to talk about in a few minutes. He is the man on the Space Coast for sure. Winston Scott, turning 75 years young today. So hope that you all share, like, and do whatever to increase our viewership, as we feel after 5 years we're providing we're providing content that nobody else is, particularly space workers' stories. We have regular space workers on here, other VIPs of NASA's and the contractors, different programs out there. So, and we're enhancing our effort to get more guests on every week. Got a couple lined up for next week, and but today Thursday will be a show, and then we'll do a rerun on Friday, as I have personal business to take care of. And I'll probably be taking quite a few Fridays off and Mondays, and for work business as well as some personal business. Thank you all for your condolences of the passing of my brother unexpectedly 2 weeks ago. And those are some things I'm involved in. So everybody looks at thumbs up and everything's looking good. Good to see RG Jubilee and Dave Stange and Jim McDade. Hello, special hi to Jim there. He's a very knowledgeable space geek there in the Huntsville area. And Dave Stange's up in Michigan. Keep enjoying that foliage on your trees, brother. You'll be sweeping it, raking it up here in about 2 months. And Mark Thel, hello again. Thank you, Mark. Met him at Shuttlefest. And Elena Adhikara's watching from South Africa. So thank you all worldwide. We'll have probably Cliff Watson chiming in from Australia. And but hope that you learn something every program and share it with people. And after all, it's live at 4 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday, and you can watch it anytime to bridge the space between us. So who's in space and for how long? Okay. And always lends to who is orbiting Earth at any time. I love bringing this up. How many people are orbiting Earth? If you've been watching, you probably know, but count on your fingers, and maybe you're going to have to pull both hands. Maybe you got to pull your feet off to count how many people are up there. I'll tell you here in just a few minutes. But part of my job is community liaison and director of this space museum, is getting out of the museum and meeting people. I've been a salesman most of my life. You can't make money at home or in the office. You got to get out to where the people are. So I'm always blessed to once a month spend a luncheon with the NASA Legends Group, the public affairs office that Lisa Malone is now used to head. And her boss was, of course, the late Hugh Harris, who did about a dozen shows with us here on Stage Curious before he passed away a year and a half ago. So it's always my privilege to go to this luncheon, and once in a while there'll be an astronaut or two there, like Kay Heyer or Jim Adamson, and they're both doing fun things in the summer. But got to sit across from John Tribe and Jay Honeycutt, former Kennedy Space Center director. Honeycutt is, and of course John Tribe is the legendary hypergolics expert for Rockwell during the Apollo and Shuttle era. And they had a fabulous program on the Apollo-Soyuz test project a couple Saturdays ago. If you didn't watch that, please go to YouTube, American Space Museum, and hunt down that program. Over 250 views of it so far, and they gave some personal experiences of the first time Americans shook hands with Russia in space, what we called the 50th anniversary of peace in Earth orbit. And that peace in Earth orbit continues today as we have, well, let's see how many Russians and Americans and other countries we have orbiting up there and how long they're going to stay. Do that in a few minutes. But another part of my day after luncheon was stopping by the Space Coast Office of Tourism in Cocoa Beach and visiting with Elise. I got these out of context there. There's Elsie there. Elsie mans the visitor's office. This is not the offices of the dozen employees that are working for Space Coast Office of Tourism. And they are financed by the heads and beds tax, we call it. A 5% tax when you spend a night in a bed, and the Space Coast, Brevard County, you're taxed 5%. That directly goes to tourism. And our museum is one of over 25 entities that get a piece of that pie. So, Elsie, thank you for all that you do to promote our museum, and something new that she showed me that they're going to do today, or they're going to start up in a month or so. They got a beta test out there, is a Florida Space Coast Trails. There you see the app button there that you'll be able to download. I think you can do that now. And Raj, this is of interest to you and the locals, because locals can do it too, is they want you to go on 3 different trails of museums or places. And once you log 7 of them on their app, they will either send you or you can pick up a cool patch. And
that sounds like a great thing to do.
there's Elsie. Yeah. Well, the patches are pretty cool. There is the Space Coast Ice Cream Trail patch. I think I'll try to do that one next. Okay, first. They have many ice cream places, probably about a dozen on there. Then they have the Space Coast Museum Trail with our dinosaur museum, and of course us represented there with the spaceman. We're part of this. And then they have a launches and loggers for you people that imbibe in the alcoholic beverages. They will have a beer tour that you can punch on this app and get this cool patch down the line. So those of you that are planning to come to our Shuttle Fest in June or other events throughout the year, you'll be this will be an extra perk. And the Space Coast Office of Tourism, we thank them for all that they do to promote our American Space Museum and all of the museums. There's 20 museums in Brevard, and we're aligned in a group called the Museums of Brevard, or the Mob. And you better watch out or the mob will come and get you. And I've been privileged to have been part of that organization for over 6 years. And so this is what we do here on the Space Coast. We're definitely about tourism. But I went to the restaurant, Florida Seafood, today, where we meet with the NASA Legends group. And Raj, sometimes it's so loud with all the tourists in there and so forth, and not a table to be found empty. And of course, we have a reserve table for a dozen or so that show up to our luncheon. Today, you could sit anywhere. It was quiet. You could hear a pin drop. That's August on the Space Coast. There ain't no tourists anywhere to be found. We're all locals. So, but this is a fun thing that we hope you engage in, and I'll take the tour and get my patch and tell you all about it one day on Stay Curious. Well, a big happy birthday, and I'm even going to put my birthday cap on for this gentleman, who I'm proud to call a business friend, Mr. Winston Scott. Happy 75th birthday to Win. He was born on August 6th, 1950 in Miami, Coconut Grove part of Miami. He's made many appearances on our video podcast, Stay Curious, over the years. So I put this picture of our doorway going in there with him getting ready. Winston talks to the Japanese Florida group that bring 4 or 5 times a year about 30 Japanese high school students to the Space Coast. that are on fire about their careers in the aerospace industry. And he's one of the astronauts with Don Thomas that usually talk to him. And we've gotten in the habit when Winston or Don does it, we pull him in and sit him down and talk to him informally. And I wasn't allowed to do that to his last visit, but next time he does, we will have a wonderful program about his spacewalks. But he has two missions, STS-72. Oh, there, we wanted to mention there's Winston with Ann and Roger Crouch. Of course, Roger Crouch, an astronaut on the repeat mission of, what was that, 87 and 94, I believe. And Ann is part of the Quilts of Valor organization that give handmade quilts to special people, and they do this hundreds of times a year. And we had a special Stay Curious episode with Roger and Ann. Roger's such a fun guy to be around. I wish I'd known him longer, because I heard he was really a jokester, and look at that happy smile, him and Ann there. And that's the quilt that Winston's got on his over his shoulder there. And Winston is a jazz trumpet player, and that got out of sequence there. Again, those images skipped on us. No, they didn't, Raj. Okay, I put them in the wrong way there. All right. Winston, part of his story is that he was a musician in the integrated Coral Gables Senior High School Band as a trumpeter. He was, of course, graduating in high school in 1968. He was part of the civil rights movement, and he was one of the few black children bused to this mostly white Coral Gables school. He excelled there. His little book called Reflections is a wonderful, one of my favorite astronaut biographies, Reflections from Earth Orbit. You can get it on Amazon. It's just almost a little pamphlet, but it's so full of his life. And he almost didn't make it to Florida State University but he had a band leader. His band director intervened. He was actually rejected from the school, and his band leader, Mr. Ledoux, called up personally his friends at the Florida State University and got Winston enrolled in there. And then he went into ROTC in the Navy, and that's where he got his desire to become an astronaut. But he did get a Bachelor of Arts in Music at Florida State University, and then his Master of Science in Aeronautical Engineer at Navy Postgraduate School in 1980. So this guy flew the SH-2F helicopter anti-submarine squadron, all right? And that in itself is an amazing vehicle to fly, particularly when you're landing on an aircraft carrier over and over in all kinds of high seas. It wasn't even an aircraft carrier. It was just a pad on this destroyer, I believe. But he became a Top Gun, naval flight career, and has a lot of good stories to tell about that. But to relax and center himself, he plays his trumpet locally in a jazz club once every second Tuesday at the Italian American Club. And here he is on a special event with a wonderful singer, Lauren, there, little 4-5-piece band, that I guess 6-piece band there, at a special event a couple months ago by the Pioneer Club of Cape Canaveral. So Winston, very accomplished. If you're a jazz musician like I am, you know that he just doesn't play it like a hobby. He plays it like a professional. So I'm going to listen to a little In Silent Way by trumpet master Miles Davis and celebrate our wonderful friend today. In fact, I had some Miles on while I was putting our program together, and I know Winston appreciates that. One of the things, of course, Winston had his head in the clouds as a young age, okay? He learned later, as training for an astronaut, he remembered that he had a childhood dream of him floating in space around his house. Now, he wasn't flying like Superman around his house, he said. He was standing up like he would later do in 3 extravehicular activity spacewalks. So that's kind of spooky that he had this premonition of him being a spacewalker when he was 10, 12 years old. Isn't that interesting, Raj? That's such, I tell you, a little wonderful book. He's been married to his wife, Marilyn Robinson, for a long, long time. His son was actually a commander of an aircraft carrier, and he's got a daughter who's overachieved. So, really a great guy. But what he does today is he is the chief astronaut at Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex, where he handpicks all the astronauts that are going to talk in their everyday astronaut encounter. And that's something Kennedy Space Center does so right, is that any day you can talk to an astronaut, hear their story. Twice they give their story in the Astronaut Encounter Theater, and then are available free for an autograph or a picture. This is where we've gotten to know a lot of astronauts personally. We being Marty Winkle, myself, Tammy Miller. Part of the group is William Bill Whiting, Connie McDaniel. You're out there too, all the time getting autographs. And just showing up has gotten us some eyes of some of the astronauts over the years. And it's a very important program out there. And Winston's over that. It used to be John McBride for over 20 years, and he stepped down before he passed away last December. And then Bruce Melnick did it for a couple years. But Winston is definitely the Space Coast astronaut. All right, everybody, if you've not met Winston and you live on the Space Coast, what's wrong with you? Because he's everywhere, giving his time so freely. And I've gotten to know his wife Marilyn very well, by the way, because when I see him at these events, she's always standing by her lonesome, usually, as the astronaut's wife, and so I've gotten to know her very well. Winston did a couple EVAs that were very important in the shuttle era. The first one, his first mission on STS-72, he did 2 spacewalks to demonstrate the techniques and the spacesuit that was going to be used on the International Space Station hard hat missions, I call them, where they were building the space station. And he was actually put at a robotic arm, all right, in the cold. They actually moved the shuttle, he said, so it was totally in shadow, and to test how cold he could be. He's the coldest cat, he said, that's ever done a spacewalk, 200 below zero there. He could feel it, he said, through all those layers of 20-some layers that they put on, and underwear and all that good stuff. But the spacesuit operated just fine on there. And then on STS, you're always looking up there, Winston. That's right, a photo I proudly took of him way back. On his second spacewalk, or second mission of STS-87, him and astronaut Dow captured in their gloved hands a satellite that they brought back to Earth to repair. And he's kind of proud of that, how they had to coordinate together. 1, 2, 3, grab. He loves telling that story of grappling a 17,500 mile an hour satellite with his bare hands. So, Winston, we love you for all that you do at the American Space Museum. We know you talk about us. We know you share with us. And we hope that things continually look up with you, my friend, and that you've had a great birthday celebration today. And he's probably got a nice little record platter there, Raj, with a great array of jazz albums there. So I'm sure he listened to a little of his idol, Miles Davis, today. So
I'd like to know what some of his favorite cuts are.
What?
Some
Pardon
of
me?
his favorite tracks.
In Silent Way, he said, is what Sketches of Spain is the classic album of Miles, but in a Silent Way is he said sounds like being in space, and it's kind of a little. It's a full album of different sounds and trumpet moanings and trumpeting and stuff like that. So, but he talks about that in his book Reflections that I should have put in here. So,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for adding that there. And we look forward to have Winston on the program again soon. So let's segue to who's in space and who's parked at the International Space Station. Okay, well, this is today, August 6th, 2025. We have got 2 Crew Dragons parked there, as you see, 11 and 10. All right. And when we had the Boeing Starliner parked where Dragon 10 was at the Harmony module of the ISS, they looked out the windows of the other Dragon and could see it there. So, they can look out those windows at each other. And I'd like to see more pictures. I'd like to see from Crew Dragon, Raj, looking out the windows at Crew 11 Dragon to see what the solar panels look like behind it. I believe this is Endeavor, that is the Crew Dragon 10. Let me confirm that real quick. Yeah, Crew Dragon Endurance. It's Endurance. And I think Endeavor is the Dragon that's parked there, but somebody can correct me on that. The names, there's 5 Dragons now. They just landed the one that they called, they named in space, the new one. G. What's the name of the one they named in space? Somebody tell me. It's it begins with a G. Anyway, while somebody's telling me the name of the 2 Crew Dragons docked there, you got Progress 91 and Progress 92. And those of you that aren't up to speed, and there's no silly questions on our program, those are the supply ships that Russia sends up, okay? Our supply ships have been going up with either the uncrewed Dragon, or the Northrop Grumman supply ships that have been sent up. So these are 2 supply ships. They don't come back to Earth. They burn up in the atmosphere with a lot of garbage. MS-27 at the bottom, attached to the Russian segment there, that is the one that's leaking, by the way. They're all tied into the Unity Zarya Zvezda area of the first parts of the space station in 1999. That's where the leaks are, but they're controllable, supposedly. That Soyuz MS-27 took up 3 crewmen, and one of them an American and 2 Russians. And well, let's talk about how long they've been up there. Right now, yes, we have 14 humans orbiting the Earth, okay? 638 humans have orbited the Earth in all eternity, all right, since the dawn of time. And 84 of them are women now, all right, that have orbited the Earth. People, we love you that are suborbital astronauts, but we call you karmanauts, not astronauts, all right? And and this is the official numbers from the Association of Space Explorers, whose president is Julie Payette now, a Canadian astronaut. So who we got up there now? We've got Crew Dragon 11, Crew Dragon 10, and MS-27 crew, all on the International Space Station, and that adds up to 11 people right now. And of those 11 people, we have 3 of them are American women, 2 of them are American men. So that's 5 Americans, all right? And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Russians and 2 Japanese up there, all right? 5 Americans, 4 Russians, and 2 Japanese JAXA astronauts are on the International Space Station right now. And we'll take an individual look at each of them. And Shenzhou 20 is the Chinese space station crew called Heavenly Palace, Tiangong. Shenzhou means divine boat, in case you were wondering, Raj. Divine boat is what Shenzhou means. So you've got this imagery of ancient China always in their spaceships, just like we have this imagery of the pioneering British ships that we named our shuttles after, the expeditions ships of lore. So Expedition 74 is going on. Looks like I cut off the 74 on this slide here. So what's going to happen? How long are they all going to stay up there? When are they coming back? Glad you asked, Dave Stangy, because you're busy with life up there in Michigan. The Crew 10's coming back tomorrow, folks. In fact, they're undocking tomorrow at 12:05 p.m. and splashdown is Friday, August 8th at 11:58 p.m. So they're going to orbit the Earth for about a day and then splash down. Now that includes Anne McClain. They've been up there for 145 days. All right, launched as you can see there on this slide, March 14th, 2025. We saw that launch here at Spaceview Park, just 9 miles away from us, sitting here. And but they've been up there 145 days now. Raj, you're going to hear people say they're coming back Friday splashdown after 6 months in space. Okay, 6 months. How many days in a month? 30 times 6 is 180 days. That'd be a half a year, right? They're coming back on their 145th day, or they're undocked. They're coming back on day 146. Okay. Sorry, folks, the math don't add up. They've been up there 5 months. Okay, not even five full months. All right. And I hate that when NASA's so exact, and yet you're going to hear them say after 6 months in space, no, they've been up 5 months. Just like Scott Kelly was in space for a year. No, he wasn't. He was in space for 11 months. Okay. I can't celebrate my birthday at 11 months. I got to wait for the 12th month. All right. I have a pet peeve about the facts being the facts. All right. Because we are the American Space Museum and we deal with facts. So, and let's look at these astronauts just a little bit up close. Anne Charlotte McClain, born in Spokane, Washington on June 7th, 1979, in case you were born her day. So she's 46. This is her second space flight, her second stay at the International Space Station. She rode a Soyuz spacecraft on her first expedition, 58, 59. And I forgot to look up when those were, but those are about 6 years ago, I think. Raised in Spokane, Washington. Okay, of interest, I found, is she traveled to Africa for 8 weeks in Operation Crossroads, Africa, working on a construction project in Uganda. Military West Point graduate. So she's an Army officer. She attended University of Bath and the University of Bristol. All right. And she has 3 EVAs, 18 hours. Each one 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 hours. So that makes sense. So she has a total of 349 days in space today. So she'll log in at 351, almost a total year on her 2 missions. Then we've got Nicole Ayers here to her right, Ayers, interestingly, has a twin sister, Cindy. They were both born in San Diego, California, but she considers Colorado Springs and Divide, Colorado, her home. Mitch Rothman, if you're watching, I know he's in Colorado enjoying his summer there. Mitch probably knows exactly I know where Colorado Springs is. I don't know where Divide, Colorado is. Ayers was born Nicole Rhea Stillwell, by the way, and married Justin Ayers. They were married in New Zealand 5 years ago. They enjoy sailing, camping, hiking, biking, and working on home projects together. And this mission has been up there 145 days. She did 1 EVA for just under 5 hours. She's got a cool nickname too, Raj. Vapor is her nickname. Sometimes we see a nickname associated with the astronaut, but Nicole Ayers, they're calling her Vapor or Vape up there at the space station.
Very
Lieutenant
cool.
Colonel in the Air Force.
Wow.
But she's not vaping at the space station, probably. I'd like to know why she's called Vapor. I'd like to ask her that. So then you got the 2 Russians up there. One a rookie, Krell, and the other one, not 2 Russians up there on this crew, 1 Russian and 1 Japanese astronaut. And Takuya Unishi, he's spending his 260th day in space on his second expedition up there. And old Krell Peskov, he's a rookie, and he'll probably go back up there. Now, we just lost the video there, Raj. I'm looking at broadcast starting soon on my screen here.
There you go.
And that's what happened on the YouTube. Sorry about that snafu there. Y'all can still hear me. We are broadcasting now. So, all right. Next up on the International Space Station, as we talk about the crews up there, Oh, there we go. We're all good there. Let me go forward. Is the crew? Oh, they're going to be coming back. Just to reemphasize that they're packing their bags, looking out the cupola for the last time. I'll have to ask. We've never had an ISS astronaut on here except Nicole Stott. But what do you do that day or two before? Do you not have to? Do you pack your experiments away 5 days early and then get to relax for a couple days? We'll have to ask somebody that one day. Because this crew is just beginning to get their teeth into their time in space. And that is Zena Cardman, the commander of SpaceX Crew 11, Michael Fink, Kimia Yui, and Oleg Platonov. Okay. And they were launched August 1st. This is their 6th day in space, but not for Michael Fink there, nicknamed Spanky. He is into his 387th day on his 4th mission to space. And we'll talk about him here in just a second. But Zena, Marie Cardman, she's 37 years old. Now, this is a mix. All these crew members were going to go to space on something different, like Crew 10 or Crew 9, and because of the snafu of the Boeing Starliner leaving Butch and Sonny up there for 9 months instead of 9 days, this got moved around. So Xena was going to be the commander of Crew 9 that was, quote, the rescue mission. So Xena is the 84th woman to go to space. She is age 37, born in Urbana, Illinois. Steve Jokums will like to know about that. She's an Illinois native, an American geobiologist. She is into biology on other planets even. Born October 26, 1987, went to University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and into marine sciences and chemistry. And she supported NASA research in the British Columbia, Idaho, and Hawaii. She's developing operational architectures for planetary spacewalks. In other words, she's on top of what it's going to take to go to Mars and walk on Mars. And her hobbies include rock climbing, caving, poetry, and power lifting. Ooh, she must be in pretty good shape there, Raj. So Xena, a rookie commander. And we'll have to add up. There's been about 5 rookie commanders now on SpaceX spacecraft. And she really doesn't have any flight experience that I could look up here. Michael Fink is a guy that we love to talk about. Nicknamed Spanky, okay, like Our Gang in the 1950s. You know Spanky of Our Gang at all? You seen the Our Gang?
I've heard the references.
Okay, well, that's a good thing to watch. Maybe is these kids, free-range kids doing mischievous things. Alfalfa, Spanky, and the gang.
I think
Spot
I saw
the dog.
a rebranding known as Little Rascals.
Yeah, Little Rascals.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking it's also Our Gang, but yeah, Little Rascals. Thank you for correcting me there. He was born. He's 58 years old. All right, this is his 4th trip to space, so it's probably going to be his last one. He waited 14 years to go to space because his last mission was the final mission of Endeavour, STS-134 in 2011. Okay. His first mission was, I didn't write down when that one was, he did 2 Soyuz flights. He was a part of Expedition 9 in 2004. So 21 years later, think at how this International Space Station has changed for Michael Fink. He came back, and his last mission was 134 in 2011. So he did get to look out the cupola. But 14 years later, there's got to be a lot more stuff going on in the way, so to speak. So Expedition 9, 18, and then here he is on Expedition 74, living the dream. Michael Spanky Fink. We'll be talking about him, I'm sure, the next 6 months. I heard that they may stay this crew up there 8 months. 387th day in space for Michael Fink. Born, oh, that's why I didn't tell you where he was born there. He was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is a hard thing for this Cleveland Browns fan to say Pittsburgh. But he considers the suburb Emsworth to be his hometown. Air Force guy, 3 children, okay, and they've watched Dad over the last 20 years of his space flights grow old and talk a lot about around the dinner table. They probably go, "Oh, Dad, you're not going to tell us about being on the space station again, are you?" All right, so he's got 3 kids there. A son Chandra and daughters Tarali and Surya. Okay, and he's married to a woman named Renetta Sakaye, Japanese, I guess. And he's conversant in Japanese and Russian. Next to him is a Japanese astronaut, Kimya Yui. All right, this is his second trip to space for JAXA. And he was on Expedition 44 and 45 in 2015, so he waited 10 years to go to space again. And then Oleg Platonov, he is the rookie of the group on Crew 11. And they've been up there now just 6 days. This is their 6th day. And coming back August, September, October, November, December, January. February would be 6 months. March and April. There was some talk to keep them up there till April. And let's go to the final 3 that are on the International Space Station. 2 Russians that are both, one, the guy in the middle, Sergei, is a rookie. No, he's not. Both of these Russians are experienced, by the way. I take that back. Sergei is the experienced one. His second flight, this is actually his 3rd flight, 249 days in space. And then Alexei, to the far right, he's the rookie. And Soyuz MS-27 has been docked to the space station for 121 days. And Johnny Kim on the left, American astronaut, he's got an interesting background. He's age 41. All right. He's a NASA physician, naval officer, naval aviator, former Navy SEAL, born in Los Angeles to South Korean immigrants. Kim listed in the Navy in 2002. He is a Navy SEAL. All right, that's some hardcore training there. Harvard Medical School, pretty good college to get your doctor's degree. And he has married with 3 children himself. So he and Spanky are looking at their photos of their kids on their private quarters, probably there. Jonathan Yong Johnny Kim. All right, over 100 combat missions in the Middle East. He is also a sniper, and he earned the Silver and Bronze Star in the conflicts in the Middle East. So what a resume Johnny Kim has there. And finally, that's our 11 people on the International Space Station, soon to be cut down to 7, hopefully with splashdown Friday about noon. On the Pacific coast, that's noon Eastern Daylight Time. In the Pacific Ocean will be splashed down as SpaceX's headquarters over there has moved their splashdown operations off the coast of California. And finally, the last 3 in space, Tiangong Space Station crew number 9. This is the 9th crew to live on this space station. Chen Dong, above my head here, this is his 3rd flight. He's been in space 319 days. Now, the other 2 are rookies. This is their 105th day in space. Chen Zhou and Wang Ji. And let's see, Chen Dong here is 46 years old. The guy in the middle is 40, and the other's 35. So not many people in their 20s go to space, all right? Such as the training and the education, so forth, you need to get before there. So, and these are some Tacheonauts, they call them, to watch, okay? Because we know China has an ambitious program to go to the moon before the end of the decade, all right? And one of these gentlemen, particularly the two younger ones on the right, they could be chosen as the ones that walk on the moon. Are obviously getting training to weightlessness and handling emergencies and doing maintenance in space and stuff like that. So there's our 14 humans in space, soon to be 10. Hope that you've enjoyed this show. Um, and let me look at some comments here. Raj, anything that sticks out there? Not too many comments there today. Guess that you're all just mesmerized by my biographies of these astronauts here. But thank you for watching TETS. Cliff Watson down in Pomona, Australia. He's probably sick and tired of winter by now. Like we're sick and tired of 90-degree temperatures here on the Space Coast and all over America. It's been quite hot summer. Tommy Usiak, glad to be talking to you. The Usiak brothers, as we talked earlier in the week, have donated, they've loaned us a Hasselblad remote camera system that we're going to make an exhibit out of. Steve Jokums, always great to hear from you, my friend. Dean Babcock, Robert Law in Scotland, and Tom Celentano in Connecticut. Michael Bruno's down in Miami. We got Jim McDade watching from the Rocket Ranch out there at Huntsville, Alabama. Carlton Bailey's at his hacienda at Canaveral Groves, feeding the squirrels and the ducks and the bats and anything else that needs a meal. Elena Edcahara, Mike Thel, Jim McDade, Dave Stengy, RG Jubilee, and Doug Forrest. Hope you caught our love to you yesterday, Doug. If you didn't, we shared some of your pictures of Al Warden in his spacewalk as we did a little tribute to Al yesterday. So like and share, and says my daughter Jessie. Let me make me big there so you can say hi to McKinley and Macy, my grandkids there in Bristol, Tennessee. So Raj, thank you for doing a good job today. Tomorrow we're going to look at I had something on my mind for tomorrow, and I forgot what it was. But we're going to crank up another show, and then we'll do a reprise on Friday if I have personal to business to do. But thank you all for watching today on Stay Curious. You can watch episodes anytime, as we've got over 1,000 episodes of space workers, astronauts, and a few shows like today on our proud YouTube channel that's now up to 4,000. Thank you, Bruce Jacobs, for babying that for us all these years to get us to where we are. So we're actually making a little bit of money now too, Raj. So, but don't ask for a raise yet, buddy. Okay, Gabriel, we'll be talking to Gabriel about it there. So. Our small and humble crew here has done a fabulous job, and I got to say I'm so proud of Raj and Anita Truex, and we've got a new employee, Naj. She's doing a great job, but they really carried on in my absence, and that's what we do here at the American Space Museum. Everybody knows the lane that they're working in, and it's all about bringing you a quality museum experience, as well as celebrating the birth of America's space age with the people who made that history day in and day out. So thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Mark Marquez saying I can't wait to see you in our museum to bridge the space between us.